And we equate donkeys to stubbornness. So, then she bears Zebulun. Zebulun means exalted, but comes from the root zabal that means to dwell exaltedly. So consider the verse from which Zebulun receives his name. This is verse 20, chapter 30. And Leah said, Elohim has endowed me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. She was all excited when she bore him 3 sons, and it didn't seem to work. But now she's excited because she's borne him 6 sons. Maybe this time he'll, hang out more. So the false perception, a false perception, proclaims blessings from Elohim, even though still dwelling exaltedly, with deception and falsehood. I have borne him 6 sons. I have brought forth and have been sons, again from Banah, restored by and established in the flesh. 6 is a representation of the flesh. A weakened perception that continues in falsehood only bears false blessing from another Elohim. This again leads to bringing forth. Her next child was Dinah. This was her last child. Having considered these ideas, we have to understand that to remain attached to a carnal nature and a weak perception of Yahshua will not only lead us away from Yahweh Elohim, but in the end we will have to fully explain ourselves before the judge. Dinah means judgment. We must seek true redemption, and this can only be done when we realize that we are in spiritual weakness and that we are willing to truly make teshuvah. What did Yahshua say? He said, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. You are blessed when you recognize your spiritual poverty. Then the realm of Elohim opens up to you. Blessed are those who mourn because they recognize their spiritual poverty, because they will be comforted. It is in this that these last verses in our Parsha study start to bring everything that we've talked about to light. It says, and Elohim remembered Rachel, and Elohim hearkened to her, and opened her womb, and she conceived and bore a son, and said, Elohim has taken away my reproach. Consider that. She conceived, she brought forth, and bore a son. She bore Banah, she bore restoration, a reestablishment. And she said that Elohim has taken away my shame. If we want to seek redemption, we have to seek truth. And she called his name Joseph, saying, Yahweh added to me another son. Consider first another son, another type of restoration to firmly establish one into the abundance of Yahweh. Note that Elohim remembered Rachel. In this we have to understand that Yahweh Elohim does not forget us. We forget him. And we go after other Elohim that can do nothing for us. That includes our own flesh. When we make teshuvah and seek Yahweh based on his truth, then he hears, listens, and acts. He hearkens to our voice, and we begin to receive from his abundance. We bring forth a son, Banah, and are restored and established or reestablished to our Elohim. We believe and receive Yahshua, and as a result, Joseph comes forth. Joseph means Yahweh has added. The root of Yosef is Yasaf, that means to be joined to. So not only do we receive in abundance from Yahweh Elohim, we are joined to him as part of his house when we believe and receive his redemption, deliverance, and restoration, that is Yahshua. And we read this at John 1:12 through 13 that says that, but as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the children of Elohim. Even so, them that believed in his name. There's believe and receive. which are born not of the blood, nor of the will of the flesh, the two problems that have cropped up all throughout the study, nor of the will of man, that is a product of the will of the flesh, but of Elohim. We all have mirrors that we look into. What do you see? That is our study of the Parsha. I started stapling it together, and Trina comes into the room and she says, "How many pages?" And I said, 7. She says, "You've got to be kidding." But in order for us to understand, sometimes it takes a little bit more effort for us to look at it. Any questions on our Torah portion for tonight? Okie dokie, grooviness is achieved.